So most martial arts school owners who open up a second location, they end up working twice as hard for exactly the same money that they had in the first place. And some of them actually make even less. And a handful, and I've watched this happen, lose absolutely everything eventually, including their original school. The thing is that nobody's really talking about is it's not because they weren't good enough, it's because they built the wrong thing the first time round. Now stay with me for the next 15 minutes or so. I'm going to show you exactly what they built wrong, what to build instead, and the 3-pillar framework that's helped my clients successfully scale to up to 12 locations without destroying their health, their marriage, or their business. So let's get straight into it. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably one of 3 kinds of people. You've got one school that's doing really well and you're thinking about opening a second, or you've already got 2 locations and it feels like it's a little bit chaotic and it's stressing you out. Or maybe you've opened that second school, it's a nightmare and you're looking for a way out. If that's the case and you're one of those 3 people, this video is for all 3 of you. Now, my name is Rick Dubidat. I'm the founder and head coach of the Martial Art Business Growth Network, or MABGN. And over the last 8-9 years, I've had the privilege of coaching more than 100 martial arts school owners through the full journey from startup to stabilization to growth and to scaling to multiple locations. And here's what I can tell you with absolute confidence. The owners who successfully scale to 3, 4, 5, 6 locations, they're not cleverer than you. They're not better martial artists, and they don't have more hours in the day, believe it or not. They just do 3 specific things very differently. And I call it the 3-pillar framework for multi-location success. Today, I'm going to break it all down. I'm going to go through the what, the why, and how you actually implement it. You can start it this week without messing around. No theory. This is all stuff that works. So section 1 is the SOP pillar. And I hate that term, standard operating procedures and stuff. It's required. So pillar 1's SOPs. Now, I know that some of you are thinking, you're probably saying, Rick, I run a martial arts school. I'm not running like a McDonald's where I need a manual for every bloody thing inside the business. The thing is, that mindset right there is exactly why most multi-location schools actually fall apart. The truth is, when you have one location that you're at all the time, your personality is the thing that holds it together. It's your energy, your standards, your way of doing things. You know everything and how to do everything. You're there, you see it, you fix it. And it works because you are the constant thing in the business and you've been there since the beginning and you care the most about it. Let's get it right. The second you open a second location, and I've been there, you are no longer the constant in the business because you can't be in 2 places at once. So what holds it together? If some of you are saying, no, you just need to be a good instructor, then you're going to be in trouble, because the reality of what happens is you hire someone great, you train them up, you trust them, and then 6 months later they leave, or they have family problems, or they move out the area, or they just leave to start their own schools because they either have an argument with you or they see signs, or they get injured, or life happens. And then suddenly you've got a location running, emotion and memory, and your students can feel it. The thing is, talented instructors are not a viable system. You need documented processes. It doesn't have to be lots of bits of paper. It can be digital documents, but you need some documented processes that everybody knows. Now, let me give you what I call the bus test. If you got hit by a bus tomorrow, we're not talking about anything morbid or like fatal. Let's just say like a minor bus situation, and you're fine, but you're out for 6 weeks, done your knee or something like that, or sprained your neck or whatever. Could your school keep running? Not just like surviving and ticking over on like 30% of what you actually do, but I mean actually running to your normal standards. And this is where you got to be honest with yourself, because if the answer is no, you're not ready to scale to another location, full stop. Because whatever gaps exist in your first location, they're going to multiply when you open a second one. You're not cloning your school, you're cloning the shit, the chaos. And here's what you need to build instead. You need a documented playbook, just like a franchise document. Yeah, when franchise owners have successful franchises, they have a document that everybody follows all the procedures. This is exactly what you need as well. It's like a playbook that any competent instructor can pick up and execute. Every single class structure, every reception interaction, every trial lesson script, every follow-up sequence, literally everything. So every way that you handle like late payments, how you deal with nervous parents, a student who wants to quit, all of it written down, simple, clear, and repeatable, and trained. Now, I'm not saying it has to be like a 1,000-page like manual. It doesn't, but you need the core processes locked in. So here's your practical action from this section. This week, not next month, this week, I want you to document your first 5 SOPs, the most important ones. Choose 5 things that happen in your school every single day. The things that, if done incorrectly or messed up, would make the student experience terrible. Now, my recommendation is to start with the following 5. How to run your trial lessons from start to finish. How you handle handle the enrollment conversations and the procedure around that, how you open the school, like the exact checklist, like locks and keys are stored and money, but all that kind of thing, heating, etc., etc. How you run your standing classes, like the structure, like the warm-up techniques to teach, what to focus on for that week, what drills to do or not to do, the cool down, stretch, timing, everything. Then the fifth one is how you follow up with a lead who hasn't booked yet, so maybe a walk-in or something like that. Just write them down. Don't have them in your head. It has to be on paper, on a Google Doc or a Word doc or something, or record it on a video. The format doesn't even really matter, to be honest. It's the fact that it's documented. Because when you open that second location, you're not sending yourself there. You're sending the system. And the system has to be good enough to run without you standing next to it and babysitting it. You might have heard the saying, build a machine before you try to replicate it. This is exactly what we're doing here. Now, section 2, or pillar 2, is the one that most school owners completely miss, and it's the leadership pipeline. Now, here's how most school owners approach hiring for a new location, and you've probably seen it online. Somebody will say that they're opening a new location, and then next thing you know, you see that they've posted an ad. They get applications, they interview some people, they pick the best one, and then they cross their fingers. And sometimes it works. It's worked for me in the past hiring externally, but more often than not, like 18 months later, they're back to square one because that person was not the right fit, or they left, or they had great skills but couldn't lead a team, or they brought in their own way of doing things and started slowly kind of messing up your culture that you spent years building. So stop hiring from outside when you can develop from inside your martial arts school already. That's if you've got an instructor training program in place. Now, your next location manager is almost certainly already in your school right now. They're already wearing your uniform, training on your mats, doing your curriculum, using your equipment. And there might be like a senior student, there might be an assistant instructor already. There might be a 17-year-old kid who turns up 45 minutes before every class and stays at the end to help like tidy up and lock up, and you haven't even noticed them yet. You just haven't seen them through that lens yet. That's the thing. Now, here's the advantage of developing internal leaders over hiring it externally. They already believe in what you do. If they're already a student, they already believe in what you do. You already know your culture. They know your values, your standards, the things that you do, the terminology, everything. You didn't have to kind of pitch them and sell them on the vision. They're already living it, and that is gold dust. You can't hire somebody to get into that straight away. So what are you looking for? Now, I've always got 3 traits, 3 things that I tell every single one of my clients to watch out for when it comes to hiring students from internally. You're looking at students that are they've got reliability before talent. I've got this wrong in the past, but now, knowing better, I'd rather have someone who shows up on time every single time and is trainable over someone who's got incredible skills but's inconsistent. Reliability is the foundation of leadership, and if they can't be counted on as a student, you can't count on them as a manager or a lead instructor or anything. So watch who's already there, who's always there, and watch who never makes excuses as well, because that means a big deal. The second trait is they help without being asked, and this is a big one. You know what I mean? Those students that when a new student comes in or is struggling, they just go over and just start helping them without even being asked. They don't like roll their eyes or shrug their shoulders when you ask them to help out. You know, they just jump to it. No one told them to. Maybe they just did it. That's just their instinct. They're just helpful people, and that's leadership. You can't teach that easily. It's easy to teach techniques, but you can't teach that enthusiasm to want to help people. So you want people who are already behaving like leaders before they have a title. So that's the second one. The third trait is you're looking for someone that takes feedback without turning to shit, without crumbling. Martial art is a great filter for this, because when you correct someone's technique and they get defensive or make an excuse, that's a red flag. Like when you correct someone and they say, "I got it, let me try again." That's your person. The ability to receive criticism and improve is a non-negotiable as a manager, because they're going to get criticized. That's the only way you get better. They're going to be managing people. They need to be able to have hard conversations as well without falling apart themselves, without crumbling. So here's how you can actually build a pipeline, because you don't just spot these people and then one day say, "Hey, want to run my school?" That's not a pipeline, like tossing a coin or something. You create a structured development track. You bring your top candidates in as a volunteer assistant on your instructor training program. You give them more responsibility over time. It's a gradual progression. Think of it as a long-term interview, and then you coach them one by one. You include them in conversations about school runs. You let them shadow you during things like enrollment conversations, during parent meetings, and sometimes during some of the difficult conversations. You're kind of giving them an overview of what it's like, and you're teaching them on the job. So you give them small leadership tasks as well and see how they handle them. And here's the thing, even if you're not planning to open a second location yet, you should be doing this right now, because a strong internal leader makes your first location even better. It gives you a little bit of breathing space as well. Reduces your dependency on being there every single hour of the day, and it frees you up to think strategically instead of just operation. And when you're ready to scale, you got someone who's been trained your way, believes your mission, and is who's ready to set it up. Now that's a pipeline. That's the asset that makes scaling to another location or multi-locations possible and easier. And one other thing on this, don't be precious about it or sensitive. Some of the people you develop are going to leave. They'll go start their own school, and some school owners take that personally. I used to, but the reality is I'm quite proud looking back and seeing like 5 or 6 schools around one of my locations, people that I taught, I trained, I taught them how to teach. If you've built the pipeline properly, there's always going to be someone else coming up behind them anyway. And the goal isn't to capture people, it's to capture a culture that consistently produces leaders. The culture is the thing that's a real asset. Now, the third thing is pillar 3. And this is the one that can literally end your business if you get it wrong. And this is financial control. Sorry, we're going to talk about money, guys. So let me paint you a picture of how this can go wrong. And I've seen this exact scenario play out more times than I want to mention, to be honest. Now, think about this. An owner opens up a second location. They're excited. Revenue goes up. They're looking at their bank account and it's got more money in it than they've ever seen. And things feel great. But what they don't realize is that location 1 is carrying location 2. The first school is profitable and the second school is just leaking cash. And because it's all going in and out of the same account, they can't see it clearly. The numbers are blurred together. And then 6 months later, location 1's cash flow starts drying up and they start missing payments. They pull money from like reserves or savings or loans or whatever. The one day they wake up and realize the business they spent a decade building is now at risk. Not because the business is bad, but because they couldn't see clearly where the money was actually going, which actual school was the profit center and what was happening. One bank account kills multiple location schools. This is not an exaggeration. Now, what you need to do instead is make sure that each location has its own profit and loss statement, or P&L, as accountants like to refer to it as. The revenue coming in and then expenses out. What's left tracked by location every single month or week. That's kind of a non-negotiable. I don't care if you're using basic account software, a spreadsheet or bits of paper, or you got a bookkeeper doing it. As long as it's done, it needs to be done per location. It matters because you need to know exactly where the money goes. A per location P&L tells you the truth about each location, each school. So is location 1 viable? Is location 2 viable? Is it growing at the rate that you need? Are you on track? Or are you pouring money into something that's like just dying slowly? You can only make good decisions with good data and numbers, and good data requires separation. Separate it all out so it's clear. Now, in terms of what to actually track, let me give you 3 numbers I want you to check every single Monday morning without fail. So 3 numbers every week for every single location, individual location. So the first one is the revenue collected that week versus the same week last year. Okay, let me say that again. So the revenue collected this week versus the same week last year. That'll give you an idea of, is the location actually growing? Is it flat? Is it declining? So year-on-year comparison is the cleanest way to cut through seasonal noise. I mean, even through something like Stripe or other financial payment processors, you can do that easily. It shows you there's a reason why it's there as a default. Now, the second number is the student count, your active students per location. So this is your leading indicator. So if revenue is okay, but student count is dipping, you've got a problem that hasn't fully hit your bank account yet. You got to catch it early. Now, the third number is the cost per location as a percentage of that location's revenue. That's the cost per location. Do it as a percentage of the location's full revenue. So that tells you how efficient a location is. If your costs are running above 60% of revenue on a consistent basis, you need to have a conversation about what's not working and start making some changes. Now, the target's going to change and vary by market, but you need to be tracking this number weekly, not finding out like quarterly when it's too late to react. So that's 3 numbers every single Monday. It's going to take you, 10 minutes? But those 10 minutes is going to save you from a lot of expensive surprises later on. And I'll also say this, if you're not naturally a numbers person, get somebody else who is. That's me. I'm not a numbers person. So if I guess what I get, I've got my bookkeeper, I've got my accountant, and I've got my wife because she's better with that stuff than I am. Well, she enjoys it, I don't. So I'm not asking you to become a financial expert. I'm asking you to make a data-driven decision instead of just using your heart or your gut feeling for decisions. There's a massive difference between the two of them when you're operating multiple locations, because you've got you to 1 school, but your data is going to get you to 3 and more. All right. So let's bring it all together, because this is a lot of information and I want it to actually stick, because it's a strong set of detail that's going to help you to scale if you need or want to scale in the future, or if you thought about it. And we've talked about 3 pillars, 3 things that separated martial arts school owners who scale successfully from the ones who burn out trying. Pillar 1 was SOPs, standard operating procedures. Your school needs to be able to run without you, not just survive. Okay, it's got to be able to run to your standards consistently. And if it can't, you don't have a business that you can scale. Simple. You just got a job that follows you everywhere. You got to document your first 5 SOPs this week. Start with your trial lessons, your enrollments, your daily opening checklist and closing checklist, your class structure structure, follow-ups, walk-ins, all that kind of stuff. Pillar 2 was the leadership pipeline. This was where we spoke about stop waiting for the perfect kind of external hire. Okay, you're going to start developing your future lead instructors or managers, whatever you want to call them, from inside your student base right now, because they're the most qualified. Just look for reliability over talent. The habit of helping without being asked is a massive one as well, and the ability to take feedback on the chin without crying or moaning or making excuses. So you're going to build a structured development track. Yeah, check out the Martial Art Instructor University. So it's mainstructor.university. That's going to help you to get that done as well. You want to create the culture that produces leaders, because the culture is your most scalable asset. Now, the third thing was financial control. You're going to separate your finances immediately. One bank account across multiple locations is a recipe for like financial blindness. You ain't going to be able to see what's happening. So every location needs its own P&L, that's profits and loss. And every Monday morning, just check those three numbers. That was revenue versus last year, student count, and cost as a percentage of revenue. 10 minutes, that's all it's going to take, man, to get clarity every week. It's going to beat 3 months of confusion every quarter. And underpinning all three pillars is one principle I'm wanting to take away today, and that's build the machine first. Get your first location running like a I don't know what's efficient, what can I use as an analogy? Like an expensive watch. It's a terrible analogy, but you get what I mean, yeah? And then you clone the system, not clone yourself. That's the whole game. There is nothing else. Because here's the thing about being burnt out. It doesn't come from working hard. It comes from working hard on the wrong things. And if you're rebuilding from scratch at every location, if you make it up as you go, if you're trying to personally hold everything together with just willpower and determination, you're going to get burnt out. The framework is what gives you your life back. So use it. Now, before you click off, here's what I want you to do. If anything in this video has hit home, you've got work to do in your current school before opening another one. Most schools try to scale the problem. Don't be that person. I've put together a free 9-step foundation guide, and it's the exact system I walk every coaching client through before they even think about school number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. So it covers all the 9 steps that you need to get one school bulletproof first. The link's in the description, so just go ahead and grab it. If you want to ask me anything in the comments, feel free. Reach out to me on socials. Let me know where you are right now. If you've got one school, 2 or more. I try to read every comment and every message that's sent to me, and I try to respond to every single one. And if this video was useful, send it to someone else or send them the link who needs to hear it. That's how the channel's going to grow. So hit subscribe for more like this every week or every month when I post them. And I'll see you next time. I'm Rick Dubedat from the Martial Art Business Growth Network. Go and build something great, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.